You know that feeling when payday finally arrives? Like you wake up, you check your banking app before you even get out of bed.
Oh, yeah, first thing in the morning.
Right. And for just this like fleeting second, this incredible wave of relief washes over you.
Because the money is actually there.
Exactly. The money is there. You breathe a sigh of relief. But then almost immediately, the reality of the first of the month sets in.
Yeah, the rent or the mortgage payment takes a massive, agonizing chunk right off the top.
It really does. And then the utility bills, they automatically draft out. Then you have to log in to pay the credit cards, the car loan.
The student loan.
Oh, the student loans, yeah.
Yeah.
And just like that, literally within hours of getting paid, your paycheck is completely gone.
Yeah.
It's just, it's this universal, incredibly frustrating feeling of having money slip right through your fingers.
It creates this profound sense of exhaustion. I mean, it's this cycle of working incredibly hard month after month, but feeling like you are pedaling a bicycle in the wrong gear.
Wow, yeah, that's exactly what it feels like.
Right. You're putting in maximum physical effort, but then you look down and you haven't actually moved an inch forward. And that kind of that financial stagnation takes a massive toll on a person's mental health.
It really does. And you start to wonder, like, if everyone else has some secret that you missed, or if this is just what adult life is supposed to be.
Yeah, just constantly treading water.
Right. Well, today we have a deep dive that speaks directly to that exact feeling of being stuck. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
We're looking at a framework today titled The 3 Steps to Financial Freedom. And the core mission of our deep dive today is to really break down this highly systematic, honestly entirely achievable debt payoff strategy that it outlines.
It's a great source document.
It really is, because the material we're digging into makes a very specific promise to you, the listener. It says that escaping this cycle doesn't require, like, hitting the lottery or inheriting a trust fund.
Or waiting for some financial miracle. It sets a fascinating baseline right from the start. Like, the anxiety you feel about debt is completely valid, but the overarching claim here is that the way out is actually highly structural.
Structural. Okay, what does that mean exactly?
Well, it requires moving from a state of vague avoidance, which, let's be honest, is where most of us naturally sit, because thinking about debt is inherently painful.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, so moving from that avoidance to a very clinical, measurable plan. There's no secret crypto investment here. It's really just about taking ruthless control of the basic mechanics of your money.
I love that.
Okay.
But before we get to the action, the exciting part where you actually start seeing your balances go down, we have to start with the phase that most people actively and sometimes desperately avoid.
Yeah, the heavy lifting.
Yeah, it's a process of facing the music.
And it is deeply uncomfortable because we're transitioning from the heavy, vague emotional burden of debt to the stark, necessary reality of quantifying it.
Quantifying it.
Right. The fundamental principle here is that you cannot fix a problem if you completely refuse to measure its exact dimensions.
And the instructions for this initial phase in the source, they are incredibly strict. Like, it requires you to sit down and list every single debt you owe.
Every single one.
We're talking major credit cards, personal loans, student loans, but also the hidden stuff.
Like the store cards?
Yes. That store financing account you opened just to get, like, 20% off a television 3 years ago and totally forgot about.
Oh, those are the worst.
Or the medical bill you've been actively ignoring. All of it. And for each individual debt, you need 4 exact metrics.
4 very specific numbers.
Right. You need the lender's name, the remaining principal balance, the interest rate, and the minimum monthly payment. And the biggest, the most inflexible rule here, no estimates.
No guessing.
None. You have to write down the exact, down to the penny numbers.
What's fascinating here is the psychology behind our urge to guess or estimate in these situations.
Because we all do it.
We do. When we estimate our debt in our heads, behavioral economists note that we almost always round down.
Really? Always down.
Almost always. We do it subconsciously to protect our own egos and to minimize our immediate anxiety. Debt is highly emotional.
For sure.
It carries heavy cultural feelings of, guilt or shame. But as the material points out, you cannot defeat an enemy you completely refuse to identify.
Okay, but I have to push back a little bit on behalf of anyone listening who is currently feeling their heart rate go up just thinking about doing this.
I completely understand.
Because is looking at all these numbers at once really the best first step? I mean, for someone who is already completely overwhelmed by their financial situation, doesn't creating a giant comprehensive spreadsheet of literally everything they owe just trigger a massive panic attack.
I completely get why it feels that way. It feels like avoiding it is the only way to maintain your sanity.
Right, like keeping it in a locked box.
Exactly. But that avoidance is actually a low-grade constant stress. When you don't know the exact numbers, your brain catastrophizes.
It makes it bigger than it is.
Exactly. It treats the debt as an infinite threat. Your subconscious mind basically says, well, we owe an unpayable amount of money to an uncountable number of people.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it like that.
Right. But by writing down the exact numbers, you put hard boundaries on the problem. It shifts from being this infinite monster in your mind to a finite mathematical equation on a piece of paper.
I see. Okay, so it's like triage in a chaotic emergency room.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
Like if you just look at a patient who's been in a major accident, it looks terrifying and completely overwhelming. There's just trauma everywhere.
Right, it's chaotic.
But a trained doctor doesn't panic. They systematically assess every single wound. They measure the heart rate, the blood pressure, the severity of each injury.
They get the data.
Exactly. It's a clinical assessment. It might be a really grim picture, but it's the only way to know exactly which wound needs a tourniquet first and which one just needs a bandage.
That is a brilliant way to conceptualize it. You're stepping into the role of the attending physician for your own finances.
I love that.
And that is the crucial pivot required for this entire process to actually work. Financial freedom actually begins in this specific, highly uncomfortable moment of assessment.
When you turn the lights on.
Yes. It's the exact second you shift from avoiding reality to actively managing it. You are taking the power away from the lenders and from your own anxiety, and you are putting it onto a spreadsheet where you can finally dismantle it.
Okay, so the triage is complete. The bleeding is quantified. We have our clinical inventory.
Right.
But just staring at the patient's chart doesn't heal them, right?
No, you need a treatment plan.
We need a treatment plan. Yeah. We're moving from the inventory of the problem to the methodology of the attack.
Yeah.
But before we even pick a specific strategy, the source says there is a major prerequisite.
The weapon.
Yes. The framework insists that we have to find an extra $50 or $100 in our monthly budget to act as what it calls a financial weapon.
And that concept of the financial weapon is so vital to understand. Because look, if you are only paying the minimum monthly payments on your credit cards or your loans, you aren't actually fighting the debt. You're just paying rent on the money you borrowed.
Wow. Paying rent on the money. Let's break that down for a second, because the distinction between principal and interest is where so many people get trapped.
It's the core mechanism of the trap.
Yeah.
So the principal is the actual amount of money you borrowed to buy the TV or to, pay for the emergency car repair.
The actual cost of the thing.
Right. And the interest is the fee the bank charges you for the privilege of holding on to their money. And credit card companies mathematically design minimum payments to cover the interest generated that month, plus only a tiny microscopic sliver of the principal.
Which means you could pay like $200 a month, but your actual debt only goes down by maybe $20.
Precisely.
That's incredibly frustrating.
It is. And because of compounding interest, where you are essentially being charged interest on top of the interest you already owe, you get locked into a cycle that can take decades to break.
Decades.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
They want to keep you in debt for as long as legally possible because you become a constant revenue stream for them. So to actually shrink the principal, you have to bypass their minimum payment trap entirely.
You have to find that extra cash.
You have to find that extra $50 or $100 to strike directly at the core balance.
Okay, and here's where it gets really interesting. Once you have that financial weapon, that extra $50 or $100,
yeah,
you have to choose exactly how to deploy it.
The battle plan.
Right. The framework presents two very different maps for this battle plan. They are known as the Debt Snowball and the Debt Avalanche.
Two very different philosophies.
Very different. Let's look at the snowball first. With the Debt Snowball, you ignore interest rates entirely.
Completely ignore them.
You organize your debts purely by size, from the smallest balance to the largest balance. And you attack that smallest one first with every extra dollar you have, while just paying bare minimums on everything else.
And then there is the debt avalanche.
Right.
This is the purely mathematical approach. You organize your list of debts by the highest interest rate first, regardless of how large or small the overall balance is.
Yeah.
And you attack the highest interest debt with your extra money. Mathematically speaking, the avalanche method absolutely saves you more money over time. It stops the most expensive bleeding first because, as we said, high-interest debt multiplies so aggressively.
So to put this in perspective, the snowball is like playing a video game, where you intentionally level up quickly by defeating a bunch of easy, low-level bosses right at the beginning.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it.
You do it to build your momentum and get your character stronger. While the avalanche is like being a ruthless, purely logical accountant who looks at the spreadsheet, only cares about the ultimate bottom line, and attacks the biggest mathematical liability.
That distinction captures the two philosophies perfectly. I mean, the avalanche minimizes the total cash you will hand over to banks. The snowball maximizes early psychological victories.
But wait, this is where I get a little stuck.
Okay.
If the avalanche method mathematically saves you more money, and we just established that compounding interest is this incredibly predatory trap, why would anyone ever choose the snowball method? Isn't advising someone to ignore a 24% interest rate objectively bad financial advice?
Well, if humans were perfectly rational actors, if we were just computers executing code, yes, it would be terrible advice.
Oh, we're not.
But we aren't calculators. We are highly emotional, deeply flawed creatures, especially when it comes to money.
Ain't that the truth?
Right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture of human behavior, behavioral economists have actually found that a mathematically perfect plan that requires years of invisible sacrifice is almost impossible for a normal human to stick with.
So it's about momentum over math.
Absolutely. Let's walk through a scenario. Say your highest interest debt is a massive $30,000 student loan.
Okay, pretty common.
Very common. But you also have a small $500 medical bill with zero interest. If you use the logical avalanche, you attack the $30,000 loan, you throw your extra $100 at it month after month after month.
Right.
A whole year goes by, you've sacrificed $1,200, and the balance has barely moved.
It still looks like $30,000.
Exactly. The psychological feedback loop is terrible. You feel like you're failing, you lose motivation, and you abandon the entire payoff plan.
Because your brain is saying, I'm working so hard and literally nothing is changing. You haven't had a tangible win.
Exactly. But with the snowball method, you attack that $500 medical bill first. Within 5 months, it's gone.
Just wiped out.
The balance hits zero. And seeing a debt completely